We have not had this storyteller in a while. She is one of those people who pretty much any theme I throw out, she's got a few stories for that. And let's think about the fact that she has a master's in divinity and is a sex educator at the same time. Don't you love that people can be three-dimensional? Isn't that awesome? She is a beloved storyteller here on our stage. She is our final storyteller of the night. Please welcome Jay Delicious.
Sex educators must have props, whether doing field work or talking to fifth graders. So, day in the life of JD. Just prior to coming here, I'm washing some sperm because grubby fifth grade hands make sperm models that are 100 million times the normal sperm size really dirty. So I washed my sperm, and then, I'm going to bed. Later, I'll probably be reading something like this. The Journal of Sex Research, because it has things in it like these awesome titles. Associations between sexual abstinence ideas, religiosity, and alcohol abstinence. A longitudinal study of Finnish twins. And I find that shit fascinating. And I have to learn how to translate it, into language for all kinds of people that I teach. So I wake up in the morning, I put on a fabulous outfit, nothing too sexual or revealing. I cover it in leather because I am a practical motorcyclist. I ride off to my destination, usually a public school in this very area. And I arrive at the school, and most of the time, it's to a delighted audience of fifth grade, fourth grade, actually sometimes third grade, even all the way to high school. So, because my day job is I teach the children about sex, and bodies and gender and sexuality and healthy relationships and STDs and pregnancy and their beautiful dangly labia and all kinds of interesting statistics about where testicle usually hangs lower and all kinds of fascinating stuff. So. This is my job. And so one day I arrive at a school, and most of the time people are like, yay! But this day there's like a parent coming at me, and I'm like, ooh. And actually a teacher had, gotten to me first and said, there's a parent who wants to talk to you about the sex ed program. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, rarely does this happen, so this parent's coming down the hall. And I'm like, hi, good morning. Yes, I'm Miss Devine. Oops, I just said my name. Well, whatever. It's fine. It's what I do. And she comes up to me, and I'm like, bracing myself, and she's like, I just want to tell you that little Johnny came home and said he was really worried about the romantic feelings he was having, but now he's feeling much better after your class. And you're like, little tears are coming down her eyes, and she's like, I just wanted to thank you so much, because he never talked about this stuff before. I'm like, oh, that's so cute that you came to school to tell me about your boy having feelings. I love that. Thank you. And then there's also the times where I'm like, wow, kids ask me a lot of questions. And despite the fact that there will be no reading, there will be reading tonight because I brought a basket of questions from my kids who ask me anonymous questions. And I'm going to read some to you because they're hilarious. And, like the time that I'm in class with a colleague and we get this question, what is a sex slave? And she takes the question, and there's been all this stuff in the news lately about sex trafficking and stuff, so she goes into her brain like, well, in some places in the world, people are bought and sold, and that it's against the law, and they're made to do things with their private parts or their genitals that isn't, against their will. They don't really want to. She's trying to get it into fifth grade language, and so kids are like, oh, okay, well, I get that, okay. And then, but you also have to include that I teach at schools where some parents are sex workers, so, and some people, are sex workers. So anyway, you have to figure out how to, get it to fifth grade level but not freak every other fifth grader out. So, but then the next day, there's another question in the box, and it says, no, my parents have this guy who comes over and they do stuff with him. What's that kind of sex slave? Oh, it's San Francisco. So we explain in age-appropriate ways. There are ways to explain that to a fifth grader. I'll tell you afterwards if you'd like. So anyway, It's kind of like role play. It's like you play on the, you're a NASCAR driver and you're the princess and you're on the playground. Well, parents have games too sometimes, and it might involve their genitals. But you don't go into like the detail of like sex history and like the slavery thing and how race dynamics and, oppression plays in, because that's too complicated. So you have to really narrow it down. So here's this other kid. One time there's another, I explain, of course, that there's all kinds of sexual orientations, and gay, lesbian, bisexual, omnisexual, pansexual, asexual, and I'm trying to get the kids, I'm like, so what do you call somebody who's, doesn't have a partner, and when some kid shouts out, narcissist! I'm like, and then some other kid goes, no, it's loner. And then some girl in the back stands up and goes, it's single and ready to mingle. I'm like, what? Where am I? I'm in 5th grade. So, my goal, of course, is to get all these children to not have to do therapy later in life and to love their bodies and have healthy sexuality and all of that. And so... So I will now illuminate you by telling you, who has children here? Who has children? Some of you can admit it. You have children, and there are all kinds of ways to get those children, right? Sometimes it's a penis going in a vagina, sometimes it's an egg going out of the body in a sperm in the laboratory dish, and sometimes it's a donor who puts it in a little jar, and you bring it home with thought, put it in a little dish, put it in your vagina. Sometimes you adopt a child, sometimes it's a foster child. There's sometimes, all different ways. Oh, you surrogate, surrogates, all the kinds of different ways you get those babies. You gotta make sure you include everybody in the classroom. So, what does it take to get the sperm out of the wiener? They don't always have the experience yet, so they don't know. Can you put the fist in a girl's vagina opening? Because I was talking to someone, and they said yes. They might have been talking to Reed. When you have sex, are you supposed to be naked? What happens when you bang your penis or vagina? And I don't know if you can see the beautiful drawing on the back of this, but it's meant to be seen like this. There is a person whose crotchular area is falling upon the log, and there is also a meteorite screaming toward their genitals at the same time. So yes, if you got hit by a log and a meteorite at the same time, it would probably hurt. How do men masturbate without a clitoris? Why did they invent the little blue pill? How do you know this, and who told you? You said you went to college to learn all this puberty stuff. Exactly what college? I went to seminary. Go figure. I've touched my private parts before, but I don't know if I've done the masturbation. How would I know? Can only lesbians make babies? Because I live in a lesbian household and everyone I know is a lesbian. I don't get it. I had an erection when I saw a cute girl this morning. Well, that's great. That's not a question, but thank you. Do you need a special magazine to masturbate? What if you had sex on the weekend and then you couldn't breathe? What should you do? If you had too much sex, and could it affect you? And there's a person with really crazy eyes right here. Or could it make you crazy? And on this one, there is a hand holding one of those detonator things and an atom bomb going off in the background. So can it make you crazy? Enough to blow up things? Maybe. What's the biggest butt in history? What's the biggest penis in history? Everybody still wants to know that. How do you walk in those boots? I don't answer personal questions. If they ask me about my motorcycle or my boots or my sex life, that's great that you're interested, but I like to have, some things that are private, and I'm going to just keep that to myself. Thanks. If someone farts and they're having butt sex and the semen and the fart mix, will it smell bad? We're now into the butt section. Why? This is one of my favorites, and Dixie's too. Why is the anus so small and the poop so big? A perennial question, of course. Is Gay sex, good for the body? Well, yes. Yes, it is. Are there really 69 styles of sex? How, how long do boys stay annoying? What is the badonkadonk and how is it used? Very nicely hyphenated word. If there's a surgery to get the boobs bigger, is there a surgery to get the dick bigger? Is it bad not to get boobs when all your friends do? Why did you choose this job? Because I get questions like this. What if you really like the feet or a foot? Oh, early foot fetishists. Oh, it's so sweet. Can there be a partnership with 3 people? Why, sure. Are there condoms that cover the testes? Very creative. Does the penis have an on and off switch for ejection? Can a guy use pads and tampons just for fun? Sure. Is it normal to have 2 testes? Because I have 2, but the picture has 1. This is a 4th grader who does not understand the concept of side view. Very literal, the 4th graders. There's 2 and there's 1 in the picture. This is weird. There's sometimes people that get in overwhelm. Here's an overwhelm. Is there any way to get a baby without doing that thing that starts with S and ends with X? Because that's weird. How do you handle this information? How can I handle this information better? How is any of this even possible? Why does all this happen? Why does this make me feel funny talking about it? Can a man spank or be spanked or get horny? Because I heard it on Mansers. Don't use Mansers as your website. It's horrible. My mom said it's funny when her hips grow. My dad says he loves it when mom's hips grow. Oversharing, that's nice. I'm a boy, and I like the cloth pad. Yay! I love it when the boys are like all empathetic. They're like, wow, I think that cloth pad is kind of prettier and actually could maybe be more comfortable for them. Is it possible that boys can suck their own penis? Also, this is cool. I don't know if they're referring to the question or the class, but yes, it could be cool. My auntie says you shouldn't give it away, that you've got to make them pay for it. And I come in with some alternatives for that, and you don't always have to make them pay, but you could. Does the penis look different when you chop it off religiously or when you don't chop it off? Circumcision question. Does it hurt when sperm comes out? No, it feels nice. How do you know? When you're on the roller coaster and the penis tickles, why does that happen? Can you explain more about boobs? What if you don't know what gender you are, and then you find out you have both genders? Awesome. How many penises can fit in a vagina? Is that concurrently or consecutively? And then, of course, they ask creative questions like, if someone had an egg come out on their underwear, and then you got sperm on the underwear, would you get an underwear baby? Or, what do you call it when a person who was born with 2 penises and a vulva, but then one was cut off and the other one was sewn on, and the person feels like a boy and a girl? I don't know. I'm a little confused by the question. There's a lot of details that I'm not totally following. If you cloned yourself and then you had sex with your clone, would that make you? What? Narcissist. Does it hurt to have an erection when your foot is paralyzed? Can you grow teeth in your anus? Is this true? Do animals have plant sex? If a man is frozen to death, is the sperm still alive? Then there's some questions that are kind of obvious, like orgasms probably feel very good. I know you know that I know that you know. What if someone has a tight butthole and your wiener can't fit? That answers the question. Question answers itself. If you orgasm and then say an hour later you had an orgasm again and no cum comes out, what happens? There's just no cum coming out. Okay. Why do people have sex for fun? Is it for fun to have sex? What about if you had sex every day? Then you're having sex every day. What if you fart during anal sex? Then you're farting during anal sex. What if you happen to have sex for a long time? What would happen? You'd be having sex for a long time. So then there's also these off-topic questions. because I can answer anything, and I can say like penis and vulva and clitoris without anybody, without freaking out. They think I have magical superpowers to answer any question in the universe. So I get good questions like this. If people eat tape, did that guy die? What is gum made out of? Is it true that a kidney stone is a rock made in your body? Why don't we get superpowers? If you are in an unusual position, upside down for a period of time, does it irritate part of you? What kind of games are you playing on the playground, children? Awesome. I wish you would dress up like Barney and serve us ice cream. Another fetish I did not know about. Do alien life forms come from outer space? Is it true that there's a cure for acne? No, it says for puberty, actually. Is there a cure for puberty? No, sorry. How come people don't eat bugs? Have you ever had the tingly feeling? Why do people have a unibrow? Why do people eat goat testicles? And lastly, will I explode? Because I'm worried about exploding. Okay, so the best part is, I get the hilarity and the joy of giving a medically accurate, age-appropriate, unbiased, all-inclusive, non-judgmental answers to these questions. And I also get thank you notes in the mail, and it's awesome. So some thank you notes to end. I'm very sad that it is the last day. I want to learn more, even though it was really disgusting. Next messages. Thanks, Miss Devine, for teaching us all about puberty. I now know how to take care of myself and be with my feelings. And it's written out with lots of flowery things and clouds and wee feelings. The funnest time I had is with you. But here's my favorite, which has an awesome picture of my motorcycle on it. And inside is an awesome transformer. It says, thank you for the 4 days that you taught us about puberty. Mostly the day that we learned about boys. I learned also so many things like wet dreams and how boys get erections and shoulders and muscles and that they get bigger and there's sperm, and I never knew so much stuff about boys and girls and men and women's hips get bigger and their eggs are like the size of a small dot, and they have 3 openings like the pee, the poo, and the vulva, and where the baby comes out, and tampons and pads, and I only knew about the pads, and I'm really glad that there are a group of people in the world that tell kids about what puberty is so that when it happens, or else kids would be like, what? Thank you. Sincerely, Edgar. I will be at the bar afterwards if you would like to rifle through some of these questions or thank you notes. They're quite fabulous.